Hello, Mark Petzl here, Freedom Fire USA. Thanks for watching. This video is going to be about where has the Tea Party gone, or is the Tea Party still there? Just going to give a short video on it. I hope you enjoy it and find it interesting. I'm going to bring up a few visual aids I think you might enjoy. I do want to say, again, to preface this whole thing, that my view as one of an early Tea Party leader and I say America and Michigan, I do want to make the point very, very clear that anything that I say that comes out as being arrogant or that it's self-serving or self-righteous or self-promoting, that is not my desire, and I ask that you dismiss that as much as you can. But what I do speak with confidence and with conviction, and I will go on to say that I am no different than any other American. I will say, I mean, I grew up in a Christian household. My mom and dad were very patriotic, but they did not really teach me a whole lot about civics and how faith works with civics. And I kind of view myself, if you will, as a canary in a mine shaft, rather than a special person. So you can observe where I'm at and triangulate it to yourself and your relationship with God if you want. I don't know, do what you want. But I just want to say, this is not about me. This is about the bigger picture, which is much more important. So, first visual aid. I think you might enjoy seeing this. This is a panoramic picture from our first event, Tax Day Tea Party 2009, here in Grand Rapids. It was on the backdrop of a bigger rally in Lansing. It was a great day. And I will also say that in 2009, September 12th, there was a gigantic march in Washington. Fox News quit covering it. It basically shut Washington down. They didn't expect anything like that. You could tell because there weren't bathrooms, not nearly enough bathrooms and so on. But it was a great experience. And I will say that the heart of the people during that time is not the heart of the people today. There's different elements I would say about the culture that is noteworthy. I would say that people actually regrettably entered into this arena. Most people had never been into this arena before. They did not relish the idea of protesting. It's not by their nature. They did not do that. They didn't want to do anything that would stain the country, give it a bad look. And but they did feel compelled to do so. And watching like grandparents with grandkids and so on was so heartening. I mean, I wish I would have gotten more pictures of things like that, because I tell you, it's truly moving. But it was a heartfelt petition. And I would say one other evidence, physical evidence of my premise, would be that we were known for leaving the place cleaner than what we found it. And from what I understand about political events today with conservatives, that's not the case anymore. So that's just a very, very, very simple physical evidence of the heart is how we leave the place. It should be understandable, right? I hope. So another neat little thing, people from West Michigan will get a grin out of this. The shirt was some of the first things we put together as a Tea Party. I had thousands of these things go through my living room. There's so many of them. People wear them all over the place. It was gigantic. Tea Party West Michigan. We basically had 11 chapters up and down West Michigan of Tea Party West Michigan, and what we did is we quickly came together. When I say we, I mean on people we didn't know. We didn't know each other. I basically went to taxdayteaparty.com, said, "Hey, I'm starting a Tea Party here," and people started coming together, and that's what it is. I am grassroots. I would say the vast majority of these people are grassroots. We're not political class type people, and so on. And so, anyways, Tea Party West Michigan, we put these core values together really, really quick, just as a common points of discussion, in an effort to try to keep a degree of like-mindedness. It's kind of interesting, and I'm going to go through these really quick, and I'm going to go through it. I will commentate as I go, because again, the picture, this topic is, where did the Tea Party go, or is it still there? Okay, so the first one is the first item is to preserve the economic future for our children. What I've seen, honestly, is that our culture has evolved into not really caring so much about the future generations. Actually, sometimes even making fun of them, calling them snowflakes and things of that nature. I would say our culture, by and large, is more interested about preserving social security than deficit spending. Now, these things I'm saying are irritating. I know there's probably a lot of people mad, and please don't shut it off. I know you want to shut it off really bad, but please don't shut it off. As a matter of fact, I encourage you to share. So I say the first thing, it sounds really neat. The proof is in the pudding. Okay. Number 2, to work for a return of principles of our governing constitution. Now, I would say we're in a post-constitutional republic now. 2010 with Obamacare and then pushing that through, I see that as a signing of Declaration of Dependence. And you say, well, I don't accept it. Well, yeah, you do. Okay, we all do, because it's still there. Government gets its power from our consent. I refuse to relinquish that we have a role in this country and we are responsible for the current status. Number 3, to demand limited government. I don't really think we're that worried about limited government right now. I mean, again, it's a neat tagline, but when we stand to benefit from it, when it's our tyranny, it seems to be accepted. You write this down, watch this video again, write it down, and then you just digest it and pray on it, okay? To promote the free market that made our country the leader of the world. Well, what I've noticed as we've gotten deeper is that the free market, it sounds really good when it's when we can play that card. But when we stand to benefit from a corporation coming in and giving tax credits and things of that nature, we're not that worried about the free market anymore. And quite frankly, again, with like Obamacare, we don't really even have a vision for free market in healthcare, by and large. It's been so far removed prior to Obamacare, by the way. We don't understand. Take your dog to the vet, okay? That's the closest thing to the free market, okay? Anyway, let's see, to give support for individual and property rights. Now, I really like this one because it picks at the heart of really what as I've gone through these years, come to value, and that's the Declaration of Independence. The statement in the Declaration says we're endowed by our Creator, or actually, that government is instituted amongst men to preserve our God-given right to life, liberty, and property. That states what government is for, the purpose it serves, and our relationship with God and as individuals. It's a nice, concise little thing right there. So that's number 5. Whether or not we adhere to that anymore, there's another term I would use that summarize that is our conscience. Our conscience is a layer of a bundling of those rights and how we operate. I do not see respect for conscience in the liberty movement. And through the years, I've fought against trampling on conscience within the liberty movement. I've often said I've learned more about tyranny in the liberty movement than anywhere else. And an evidence of this, to make it plain, okay, if there's a massive support for a candidate, but there's a person in the group that does not go along with that candidate and has concerns, is that person rejected, or do they want to ice pick them and throw them out back, or does that person supposed to shut up and stay silent? That's freedom of conscience, and that's very, very near and dear. If you don't have freedom of conscience, you don't have a movement. If you cannot handle contrary viewpoints, if you don't actually want contrary viewpoints, then there's no movement, not a wholesome movement, not one that will yield good fruit, because you have shut your mind off, you've shut off your critical thinking, and it's not healthy. The number 6 is to provide a platform for like-minded people, to give them a voice. Again, understanding this here effort is a bridge between individual seeking to work together as a group to have a voice and to have impact. It is the raw It's a raw essence of who we are. Individuals working together. How does it work? Seeking God. You see it? Do you see what's going on? I'm here to tell you, I am utterly disgusted by what I see in the liberty movement. I'm so irritated. I'm seeing red. I would just assume protest anything from the Tea Party right now in my area. I'm going to say, by and large, I'm going to say macroly, it's the same thing. I see evidence of it everywhere else. I'm not saying there aren't right-minded people involved in these groups, because I know that there are good people in there still. So don't take what I'm saying as an offense on them. God bless them for staying in there. But I'm talking about the people that are abusing it and using it for their personal gain, including getting Trump reelected in 2020. There, I said it. Look, vote for him. Do it. I am not trampling on your freedom of conscience, but as your fellow citizen, make no mistake, I am going to hold you accountable because I live in the same country as you do. Okay? If you want to take your whatever and cast it aside, that's fine. But my God, if you're going to vote for him, can you hold him accountable? Okay? Planned Parenthood is still being taxpayer funded at a higher rate than it was before. Is that a problem? Yeah. I've argued against people that have said that Trump has maintained every single one of his campaign promises. Bullcrap! He has not. Obamacare. Is it repealed? Okay, here we go. Somebody's saying, it's the Republicans, it's the congressmen. Yeah, it is. That's no problem. But if you accepted that campaign promise on its face value, then you should also hold him accountable on the face value. He also provides leadership. Okay? He created division. This is not all about Trump. Again, this is about you working together. The thing about Trump that's a beautiful thing, and this is probably the most important part of this video. We have lessons to learn right now. Okay? In 2009, we were a contrary movement. We were protesting the movement that was happening. Now we're governing. What do you do when the ball's in your court? Do you act just like those we used to? Counter? Do you accept the same principles that the Supreme Commander can do no wrong? Do you yield the responsibility of the individual? I hear all the time, I'm constantly fighting the notion that we, the people, are essentially insignificant. It's all about what God does, and it's all about what the president does, but the voice of the representative in Congress has no voice anymore. It's all about the Supreme Court. It's all about the justices, is it not? If I have my congressman, Justin Amash, has brought a contrary view. Now, listen, I don't agree with everything. And frankly, even the impeachment thing, I'm just like, man, that's not the point. He has a voice, okay? We elected him to have a voice. And granted, if he gets challenged, that's fine. But my God, the monkeys you're putting up against him aren't worth the powder to blow him up with. You're going to end up with the same representation that we have through the rest of Michigan with failing congressmen. But you have your power. You get Trump reelected, and you know what? It'll be good for the stock market. And maybe if everything goes well, you can live out the rest of your life in comfort. All the while, we've lost Americanism by our own hand. It's one thing for the Democrats to push it through. It's another thing for us not to do it. Now, you got whack job Bernie Sanders. He is a nut job, okay? And back, again, parallel to 2009, Obama was a nut job too, only he had a different way of presenting it. He came across all nice and he didn't have the wacky hair talking like this. He was a nut job. And so are the rest of the... You can't be part of that party and have your head screwed on straight. Why? Because of life. You can question how government should take care of the people and have lots of disagreements and so on. But if you can't understand not killing babies and the unborn and the sanctity of life, I don't know what to tell you. Okay, so if you're part of that party and it's still going on, there's a problem there. So that aside, we have a job to do. And what I'm concerned about, frankly, I would just assume Bernie Sanders was elected because he's an open nut job. And if people are going to vote for the nut job, then they should vote for the nut job. Okay, instead of something branded as something more, gosh, I even hate to say the word moderate, which is not moderate. The behavior's different, more tolerable, but there's nothing moderate about these people. And then here's the thing. We are so concerned about losing that we start changing our view. We start changing our view, our own common sense view of what happened in 2009. We're so concerned about the nut job Bernie winning, and understandably. But my God, when we change things by our own hand, that's a problem. And when people say that Obama was not as much of a nut job as Bernie, let me ask you a question. Would Obama reject anything that Bernie's doing? Obama's the one that said, look, I want single payer, but we're just going to have to do this for now and then get the rest later. Meanwhile, we can't handle contrarians in our own groups. It is our job to be good stewards of this time and the lessons learned of what happened during this time, during these years. I pray we hold true to the truths from God. I pray we hold on to our heritage that's one as children of God, that look at natural law for what it is, common sense, and that we accept our role as Americans, being born during a time when our country needs us more than ever before in its past, because our country has problems in every element. At least back in our revolution time, people understood what you plant in the spring, you harvest in the fall. Now we can go for years not planting in the spring without starving to death. It's a different time period. The people of faith don't know up from down. Our seminaries are teaching people, not just not teaching them, but teaching them wrong. Men of this country, I challenge you to take care of your household. Contact Institute on the Constitution. Look them up. They have curriculum that you can teach yourself in your household. You do not need to be an expert. It is a bridge to circumvent all the garbage from the pulpits, from the public schools, from the colleges, from the conservative talk radio, from the mainstream media, from all these different things. Declare independence today. Declare independence. That is the Tea Party spirit. So I ask you, is the Tea Party still there? Because you're going to have to ask yourself that. That is not a question for me to answer. Pray for our country. God's will be done. Not my will, but God's will be done. My desire is for our country to be restored. I pray that it is, but ultimately, not my will, but God's be done. Bless you guys for watching. Please pray about what you just saw and consider sharing. Thank you.